Hi, this is Aaron Wilson. We're talking about Damon Arnette, the Texans' new cornerback. So, as I reported earlier today, first, he signed a one-year veteran minimum contract. He tried out for the Texans during their minicamp, along with Keenan Isaac, also of the Houston Roughnecks, another corner, and Duke Shelley, former Minnesota Vikings, another team's corner, a veteran that was drafted by the Chicago Bears in the 6th round. Damon Arnette, as you know, is a former first-round draft pick, quite a pedigree at Ohio State, very talented, but also has had a significant amount of off-field problems. What I want to get into today is the background, how this came to be, why the Texans are giving him this opportunity, and what I expect from Damon Arnette in the cornerback competition. And, as you guys know, Ronald Darby decided to retire. He was under a one-year, $2.5 million contract. Many have asked me, why not Rasul Douglas? Rasul Douglas has a standing offer from the Miami Dolphins that is above that number. So he's not really a candidate here. I had people ask me about Jair Alexander. Jair Alexander is a starting corner. We got significant money from the Baltimore Ravens. No, they were not involved in that. Why not Stephon Gilmore? That's a very expensive and older third corner. Arnette at 28 still has something left in the tank. We saw the pick six he had for the Roughnecks against the Birmingham Stallions and a 90.6 Pro Football Focus grade in that game. Still a little rusty, and we'll delve into all the off-field issues, and I want to tell you why those close to him believe that he is a changed man. Many of you watched the video that I did, the exclusive with Damon Arnette, and the story I told about Arnette and how he says he's reordered his life and is a changed man. We're going to see. I believe that he is, at this time, drug-free and alcohol-free. And you kind of can tell sometimes when you're around someone if they might still be having some sort of drug problems. I can tell you my interaction with him and what I'm hearing from the Roughnecks, from Curtis Johnson, their head coach, from their secondary coach, Brett Maxey, from the UFL Vice President of Football Operations, basically the commissioner of UFL, Daryl Moose Johnston. They all believe in him. Jon Gruden. So a lot of people in his life, there's a good reason for healthy skepticism. We've heard this before. He's had other second chances. Why is he different now? So one reason why I believe he is different now is because he's pushed away a lot of the bad influences in life, sort of the hangers-ons, the folks that were not good influences, and now he's back around his family, around his grandfather, around his father, Damon Arnette Sr., and he's become more religious, more spiritual, and we'll see. He had a good tryout, I'm told, and he was able to beat out these other corners. He was coming off a bout with bronchitis, so he wasn't really 100%, but he still had a good workout for the Texans. So going into this and the significant life changes, and this is what he said to me, and you guys have seen the video, of course. It says he's 28 years old with 3 kids, a mom and a dad who love him, has his back. And he says he's proven that he's made a complete turnaround. All the coaches that he's been with me, that he feels like their words would be more valuable because he said things in the past. And he says, I'm a dog on the field, but I'm more of a professional now than he was before. He said he wasn't a professional before. He acknowledges that. He acknowledges his shortcomings. I was just a dog. I found professionalism in a calm state of mind. I feel I'm the best version of myself that I've ever been. So he really hit rock bottom because of legal and personal issues. And he got a lot of guidance along the way. Some people didn't give up on him, including Jon Gruden, his former coach with the Las Vegas Raiders. And I spoke to Jon Gruden. Jon was returning from Knoxville, Tennessee, riding through the Rocky Mountains with his wife, and he took the time after I texted him to give me a call. And you guys may have seen his comments. If not, I want to go through it a little bit, what Jon had to say to KPRC2, to myself, about Damon Arnette, who they had to cut after he made that death threat where he's brandishing the guns, and he sent the video to some kid in North or South Dakota, and they posted on TikTok, and at this point he's just spiraling. And they had to cut him largely for performance and public relations reasons. This was right after the Henry Ruggs automobile accident that claimed the life of a woman that was driving a car, and he was driving too fast, obviously, and he's in jail and whatever, he's getting out on some house arrest. Looks like he might even get to play again. Second chances league, and here's a second chance for Damon Arnett. But yeah, Jon Gruden. Jon says he's got a whole new identity. Doesn't look the same. I agree with that. Different haircut, face looks different, eyes look different. Seems like he's more with it. When he talks to you, looks you right in the eye, he's focused. Doesn't act the same, not the same. He's changed his identity, changed the circle of people in his life in a good way. Jon Gruden says he's focused, he's determined. He's got to make up for some time he lost, really concentrate on stringing good days together. I'm really proud of him. He sees a guy who's reinvented himself, who has done it very impressively. Hope he continues on that run. He says we'll all be able to pull for him, and he noted some of the best stories he's been involved in with coaching, seeing guys turn around from adversity. Darren Waller is a great example. He had problems and fixed himself. So did Max Crosby. Damon Arnett can do that as well. Hopefully this opportunity leads to something great. And Damon told me the reason why he's changed and improved maturity is he had to look in the mirror. He had to make some serious life changes. The main thing he did was he invited back his support system, his foundation, and he says he'll never let go of that again because he wants to navigate a new world, a new environment, new situations with no experience. He learned from that. He said he told Moose Johnston that when he told him no, it hurt his heart because someone's telling you no, telling you you can't play football. And he's thinking he was doing everything right, but he wasn't doing it right enough, and there was a recent arrest. My understanding of that possession of methamphetamine is if he'd had his prescription with him, then that he would not have had that arrest. But that has been adjudicated. There is a case in Colorado, a lawsuit, so we'll see what happens with that. But he's eligible to play. He's not being suspended, so they can give him this chance to replace Ronald Darby perhaps. I think he'll be competing with Jalen Smith, and he's not guaranteed anything. I've seen some people on the internet say, well, Bob McNair would never allow this. Well, this is Cal McNair's team. This is Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryan's team. So they can do what they want. They can give someone a second chance, and we're a country of second chances. At some point, all of us have had a second chance. I've had second chances. I haven't had that type of situation, but I've had other people say, I believe in you. Aaron, I think you can do it. I think you're going to do a good job for us, and I have confidence in you. That means a lot. Maybe someone else doubted you, or someone said, I don't think you're good enough at whatever you do. Whatever walk of life you might be in, whatever profession you guys are in, journalism is a very challenging field. Guess what? I embrace the challenge. I embrace the competition. Is it ever stressful? Of course it is. It's not like playing professional football, though. And I'm doing this with, not having to worry about sobriety and things like that. I would say, I'm just, being a little bit personal for a moment. Have I ever said something that, maybe didn't go over that well? Sure, it did. And you know what? I felt like that was unfair and that they made a poor decision. Guess what? I'm still here. I'm still breaking stories. Still doing what I love to do. So I don't let things stop me. And we've all had adversity in life. I've had people pass away. I've had loss along the way. But I've won a lot more than I've lost. And I try to find commonality sometimes with the people I interview. I try to put myself in their shoes. So I was sitting there across from Damon Arnett, and I encourage you to, and I'm going to put this link in the section to go back and watch this video. I've shared it a few times today. Just listen to him. See, are you convinced? Do you believe? Do you feel like a changed man to you? Actions always speak loudest than words. I always go off of that. But sometimes you just have to kind of go with your gut. What's the instinct? What's the vibe you have with someone? And I'm as cynical as the next person. I've covered professional sports for a long time. I broke the Ray Rice story. I've covered Ray Lewis. I've covered Jamal Lewis when he did federal cocaine conspiracy time. I've covered domestic violence cases with Terrell Suggs. I've covered guys that have had problems before. I've seen people have problems with addiction, mostly with the Baltimore Ravens. I've seen these sort of issues. And you know what? It goes to the highest levels. Sometimes people have these issues. But like I said, we're a country of second chances, and I don't think the Texans are taking that big a risk with Damon Arnett. And a lot of people believe that he's changed. So Daryl Johnston was a skeptic. A year ago, Moose Johnston, former Cowboys fullback, very respected guy, did not believe in Damon Arnett. He thought it was too soon. He told him no. He said, "You're not playing in the UFL." And he said he felt like he hadn't separated far enough at this time, a year ago, because he had the bump in the road. He's talking about the possession charge. So he told him, if you want this opportunity, we're going to give you time to show you deserve this opportunity. First time he said he met him, his appearance, you see a completely different Damon Arnett, very professional. He said Damon was very remorseful for everything that happened. We talked to everybody's family, every coach on his football journey, people he knew in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, mentoring him. They all talked to said he has genuinely changed and had a real honest sense of remorse. He asked everybody, well, what happened to him? How did this happen? How did he spiral from first-round draft pick, Ohio State standout, to a guy that, I've talked to him for years. I've known him for a while, kind of peripherally, that he's had money problems, that he's had substance abuse problems, he's had mental health problems. He deals with these, especially the mental health, all the time. And I know that there are a lot of people in his corner, from his attorney Daniel Moskowitz to his agent, Damian Butler, to his father who I've spoken with, and they believe. So we're going to see. They're going to give him this chance. And again, back to Moose. He said that they thought it was perfect timing. He gets his first round contract. This is what happened to him. And he allowed the wrong people to come into his life, and he walked away from the right people. That was the lesson he had to learn. From people they talked to with the Roughnecks, this is Moose. They talk about growth, involvement in the community. I know that he's read to kids at libraries. That's something community events the Roughnecks do. And he says he understands the message. He said there's always an issue or reason the NFL is not allowing them back in. So they got to dig into that, and they have to be professional. And the football part, he calls that the easy part. He's a first-round draft pick. But it's little things, being accountable. It's being on time. Athletic ability only takes you so far. I agree with that from Moose. And NFL will not wait for you. They'll just move on. And he says you need not just be a good football player. You need to be a good man. Couldn't agree more with that sentiment from Daryl Moose Johnston. Saw the football skills. Saw him undercut that throw against the Birmingham Stallions, scoot 51 yards in the end zone. And it's his first touchdown he scored since a 97-yard return against Indiana in college for the Ohio State Buckeyes. So 14 solo tackles, second on the team in 5 pass breakups, missed a couple games with the bronchitis. Healthy now. And, you look at the way he sees the game. I was talking to him about the pick and the eye discipline he said he had, being locked in on the hips. Seeing the receiver dip to break down, gave him a nudge, pushed him off balance a little bit, turn around, look for the ball, and then the rest is history. He scoots into the end zone. It's a great feeling for him to play football again. Former 19th overall pick. On the, some of the background, of course, November 8th, 2021, that's when he was released. The video surfaced of him brandishing firearms and making death threats. Never actually carried through with any gunfire, vented, made this video of himself. Really dumb idea. Make a video of yourself brandishing guns, making death threats, and sending it to a teenager. That was his mentality at the time. And then he had a brief stint with the Miami Dolphins, and then he played with the Chiefs. So he's played 13 games, 29 career tackles, 1 for a loss. And the Chiefs cut him 9 days after because of an arrest for assault with a deadly weapon and deadly weapon charges, carrying concealed weapon without a permit, 2 counts of possession of controlled substance. That was in Las Vegas. Las Vegas been telling he's got most of the trouble. Doesn't live in Las Vegas anymore. Lives in Dallas. No criminal charges were filed, but a year later he was indicted, agreed to a plea bargain, got 50 hours community service, 2,000 fines. So in Richardson, Texas, that's where he had the methamphetamine, unlawful carrying of a firearm. And his lawyers released a statement saying he was unable to provide law enforcement legal prescription for medication and wouldn't have been arrested for either charge if he had documentation. So I asked him this question. Why have you had so many problems? Why have you had so many issues navigating life, football, mental health? He even talked about the coronavirus pandemic, the isolation he felt during that. he said being an amateur to life, he saw himself as protected and sheltered because of football. And then they had COVID. He said he did not control himself, didn't have a good foundation or good support system. And he felt like if he didn't go through all the things he went through, he wouldn't be as wise as he is today. So it's a focus and appreciation for the game and the responsibility he has. It all lined up for the Roughnecks. So he says it's easy for him to stay in the moment because he had to work so hard to get here. And he says being able to play football is the best gift that God could have given him. And he said when he came back, he didn't want anything but a Gatorade squirt bottle and a helmet. He just wanted the simple things, playing for the love of the game. And you just look at everything with Gruden and a lot of people that still believe in him. So there's that. He's gotten guidance. This is from his attorney Daniel Moskowitz, someone I know well. That's helped players with trouble like Randy Gregory get back in the NFL. And he said Damon just needed to be Damon and everything would fall into place. The culmination of the individual has worked extremely hard to earn this opportunity. And he says we greatly appreciate the Texans for seeing the progress as Damon has made on and off the field. And he says his faith in God. He said he found himself on my knees one night praying and he realized that he takes steps forward that nobody else would be able to pull him out of this. He needed to make the right decisions, see the, quote, blessings that were always there. So spiritual. Brett Maxey told me that when he gets to work with the Roughnecks, that Arnett was one of the first players to arrive for work, typically by 6 a.m. A lot of people talk about him being a very hard worker, and that's what it takes. So Damon Arnett, second chance, Texans, and this happens. They'll make the deal official, and then they'll have to release someone. So probably from the bottom of the roster, perhaps the defensive back. We'll see who they move on from. But this is, again, I'll close with Brett Maxey. Brett Maxey said when he knew that he was going to be a part of their team, that he knew that he would make a lot of plays because he's an unbelievably talented athlete. And he says he's doing all the right things, one of the first guys in the building, first player he says he sees every morning. And he sees great things happening for him after the season. Well, now they've happened. Signing with the Texans, he said he's been first class, he's going to earn everything he gets, and he'll appreciate it more now than he did 4 years ago when he was a first-round draft pick. So a interesting comeback story, one I've been honored, privileged to tell, and I appreciate everybody that's read my stories. I appreciate the feedback I've gotten from a lot of people. But this is ultimately what I do. I like to tell stories, I like to break news, and I'm having a lot of fun telling Damon Arnett's story. So this is the next chapter in the Damon Arnett Chronicles, real saga, a redemption story. So that's what we're talking about here. And guys, thanks for the live, for everybody that attended, working on that. So we'll get better. I appreciate it. It was kind of a preseason football for me on the live, not as experienced at that, but I enjoy making the videos. We'll still do more lives, and I'll get better at making them. But I appreciate all the questions and everybody that contributed, everyone that stopped through. So thanks, everyone, and thanks for listening to this video. Please watch, like, subscribe, and support this channel. We are getting closer and closer to 10,000 subscribers, and can't wait to be at that number and then set new goals. So just looking forward to everything, enjoying the conversations, enjoying being a YouTube creator, in addition to all my duties at KPRC2 with Randy McElwain and Alexander on television and at www.click2houston.com. Of course, I'm on Twitter and X at AaronWilson_NFL, Instagram at AaronWilson7128, and for you guys here, YouTube, Aaron Wilson Sport. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.